This one's for you, Tito. Hello, internet fans. It's your old pal Rotten Roger DeMarco here from 3bproductionco.com. And this week, we're doing a Patreon-requested special review. We're talking about Frank Darabont's 1994 film, The Shawshank Redemption. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so here is your plot synopsis. Andy Dufresne is convicted for 2 murders that he did not commit. His wife and his wife's new lover. So he plots and schemes an escape from prison under the noses of the administration and even the prisoners that he has grown close with. It's awesome. But before we get into my overall thoughts of the film, first, let's take a look at
Ryan Rogers! Splatter facts.
We have 6 dead bodies. We have 0 titties, although there's a decent amount of naked man butt. We have Morgan Freeman narration. We have betting on tears. We have 1 brutal Mr. Krabs. We have prison rape. We have rock hammer shenanigans. We have opera shenanigans. We have 2 months in the hole. And we have sewage slinking. The methods of death include and basically are limited to gunshot, beaten to death, and suicide. Yeah. Okay, now on to my overall thoughts of this film. Normally, we talk about horror films, and this is not a horror film, so this is a little new for me. But this was written by Stephen King. And Stephen King has been known to kind of dip in and out of the horror genre, like Stand By Me and The Running Man and other things. But here we go. First and foremost, this film is insanely well written. The character arcs are fantastic. There's rich character development, there's layers to everyone. No one is just a cookie cutter character. Everything from the most subtle detail all the way to the craziest character attributes are all present in this film. Even Clancy Brown's character, who plays Hadley, one of the mean guards in the prison, he even has moments of extreme levity where you really like him and care for him, even though he is technically a terrible person. But the way that this movie is executed, it lets you see that there is no good and bad, that everyone sort of walks this gray area, that no one is morally superior. Everyone does something that could be considered an attribute of a bad character, even though they're a good character. And I love the way that it's executed. I love the way that these characters come across in this film, especially the lead character, Tim Robbins, who plays Andy Dufresne. There's something about his performance in this film that he plays with such a sadness all the way through, but at the same time, he seems like being in prison isn't affecting him as much as it's affecting everyone else. So there's a line in the film where they say he seems to just glide through the prison, and that is the best way that you could describe it. It's amazing to see he's tortured because he knows that he didn't commit these crimes, and he's holding on to some shred of humanity instead of trading in everything that he learned outside the walls to become what everyone is inside the walls, if that makes any sense. The ride that this film takes you on puts you through so many emotions. There are moments of pure joy, followed by moments of excruciating tension and heartbreaking moments like the attacks in the prison and the way that the new inmates are treated. I have a hard time not saying that this is one of the best movies ever made. One of the things that this movie does really well is that it has a very dry sense of humor about it. And I think that the casting plays a very big part in that, because you have all of these wonderful character actors. You have Clancy Brown, you have William Sadler, you have Jeffrey DeMunn. You have so many people in this movie that bring something very special to the table. And given a script like this with incredible writing and cutting these guys loose, you get a movie unlike any other movie that I've ever seen. Examples of this writing style and the execution of the character actors taking what's on the page and making it their own is the rooftop scene where they're tarring the roof in the film. There's not many scenes better than this scene. Just this wonderful sense of camaraderie amongst the inmates who are working on the roof. There's just this feeling of normalcy to the scene. It's so wonderful. The fact that they get to drink a couple of beers and be on this roof with the sun beating down on them and working together and laughing and telling jokes and having fun, all while being incarcerated. It's fantastic. It's so good, and it starts off very light and then it builds, and there's so much tension in the scene, but then it calms down and makes you laugh and makes you relax again. And I think that that is the MO with this film. There are tons of peaks and valleys to where you're not sure where this is going and you're not sure what emotion they're gonna pull out of you. And I think that that is expert filmmaking. And I think with a scene like that rooftop scene, you don't get the mileage out of it unless you have fantastic character actors. One of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion, is the cell toss scene. And this is pure Hitchcock. The first time you watch the film, so much of what's happening is going unnoticed. But this is a credit to Stephen King's writing and a credit to Frank Darabont's directing. The second time you watch the movie, the scene is even more intense because you're aware of the stakes and you know what is going on. So there's this very Hitchcock cat and mouse, hot and cold game being played in that cell. And it's amazing. It does not get much better than that. If you're a fan of suspense, if you're a fan of Hitchcock films, then this particular scene is taken right out of Hitchcock's playbook. I think that this is a very fun movie, and it has something for everyone. Normally, I am a horror fanatic, but don't let that mislead you. I do watch films that are not horror, and this movie is up there for me. This is one of my all-time favorite films. We revisit it frequently, and it's a good time because, like I said, it has something for everyone. It has fantastic comedy. It has great suspense. It has an amazing payoff. It's a longer film, but everything about it is top-notch. And if you're into character-driven films, this one's for you. But if you haven't seen The Shawshank Redemption, I absolutely urge you to do so. I could stand here and talk about this movie for the rest of my life because the goods of this film obviously outweigh the bads. This movie is a blast, top to bottom. It's fun, but in my personal opinion, this movie is 100% popcorn as fuck because it is something that you need to see, and it is one of these movies that elicits every single emotion that you're capable of having. It will scare you, it will make you laugh, it will make you cry, and it will wreck you emotionally. But I think this is one of those movies you need to sit back, you need to just take in and enjoy. Top to bottom, popcorn as fuck. That's my personal opinion. It's an any time of the day film that if you haven't seen, you really need to see it. So if I have swayed you to check out Shawshank Redemption for the first time or the millionth time, click the link in the description and get a copy for you today. But I suppose I should probably get going because after all, there's a lot of movies out there. And somebody's got to watch them, so why not me? Right? You know, I had to go to prison to become a crook. That was a Patreon requested review for I, Tito. If you wish to have me review any film, which does not have to be horror, join the Patreon tier and let me know what film you want me to review. I'm out.